Can you hear me in the back?
So we have now Poul Hjorth from Dynamical Systems, associate professor there. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me in the back?
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so I'm actually going to say something along the same lines, but there will be more geometry and less statistics here. What's in a proof? How many times do you need to prove a mathematical theorem? Well, really only one time. Especially you guys should only take time to prove a theorem one time and then get on with things, because your PhD studies are so preciously short. But sometimes, and this is my major point here, sometimes there's an interesting information in proving the same thing in different ways. To illustrate that, I'm going to talk about an ancient classic, the Pythagorean Theorem, and if you've forgotten what that says, it has something to do with a right-angled triangle and the sums of the squares and the sides, and I hope it comes vaguely back to you. So, over the years, there's been many proofs of the Pythagorean Theorem, and most of the proofs have amounted to some sort of construction where you take apart the little areas and reassemble them again into the big areas, and they are horribly complicated constructions, and they take much longer than 10 minutes to explain. It seems everybody and his brother has been there and provided proofs of the Pythagorean Theorem. There are over 150 different proofs known to really profoundly different proofs. Even the Danish poet Hans Christian Andersen has chipped in with a proof that he has put in verse. It will take more than 10 minutes to read, so I'm going to skip it. Even a US president has provided a proof of the Pythagorean Theorem. Not this guy. Someone else. Not this century, not the previous century, but we have to go further back. So I'm going to give you just two proofs to illustrate the vast different approaches that can enlighten the same thing. And the first proof is the original proof by the old man, the author of the longest running textbook in human history. This guy. He has been dust in the grave for over 2,000 years, but he still speaks to us in this fine room, this building today. Actually, Euclid himself provided, just for good measure, several proofs of the Pythagorean Theorem. But this is his finest one. This is for the books. Okay, are you ready? Here's the triangle. Here are the legs or the cathetes of the triangle. Here's the hypotenuse, the slanted line there. Now, we can scale this. You guys in image processing are known that you can scale things up and down. Let's make a different version, different size version of the triangle, but one where the hypotenuse has length exactly 1. Okay, so this one hypotenuse triangle has an area inside of it. Let's call this area A. Are you following me so far? Okay, now comes Euclid. And of all the constructions that's been through the ages, the master constructionist draws one line. Okay, I was going to say, this smaller triangle here, of course, has area AC squared because areas scale with the square of length scales, right? So if you go from size 1 to size C, the area will be AC squared. Okay, here comes Euclid. Here comes Euclid's line. That's it. The proof is done. How can it be done? How can we be finished with the proof now? Watch this. This triangle is actually a scaled version of the original triangle, except that it has hypotenuse A. And consequently, the area inside of it is capital A times A squared. This triangle is also a scaled version of the original triangle, except that the hypotenuse in this scaled version has size b, and consequently the area inside is a b squared. Now obviously the sum of the two little areas equal the big area. That's useful. It doesn't get much better than this. But we are in a technical university, and so I thought I would give you a different proof. This is known as the engineer's proof. To do this, I need the classical tool for the engineer, duct tape, WD-40, and for good measure, a bicycle pump. Are you ready? Okay, so here's the triangle again. So you have to imagine me reaching up and tearing the triangle loose so that it can float freely around the plane. Except that, no, I'm not going to use the duct tape. Except that now I put a nail through this corner, a hinge, so that the triangle can rotate freely around the blue dot. And I'm going to use WD-40 on the hinge so that it goes without friction. So now you can imagine that so the triangle can turn around the blue completely effortlessly. Here comes the bicycle pump. Okay, so I pump. Okay, here's the positive direction. You can choose that in any way you want. This is completely free. Now here comes the bicycle pump. So I'm pumping the triangle to a high pressure. Now there's a pressure inside. It's a two-dimensional thing, but we can dispense with it. Because there's a pressure, there are forces acting on the side. So there are forces pushing the triangle in one direction and in the other direction. And I asked you, in which direction will the triangle start to turn? In which direction will the triangle start to rotate?
There's no gravity?
There's no gravity. It's completely horizontal plane. And you say nothing, and that's completely correct. It will not turn. I hear your mechanics skills are just up to par. Actually, if it began to rotate, we would have a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. So, but how can we express the fact that in spite of these forces pushing out on the three sides and giving a torque on the triangle, it does not rotate? What is this zero associated with it? Well, let's write down the Chalk theorem. So on this side A, the force going outward is P times the size of the side, the A, and there's a lever arm which is A over 2, and that's in the positive direction. Similarly here, the pressure going out here is P times the size of the arm, and the lever arm is B over 2, and it's also in the positive direction. So here's for the one side, here's for the other side, but the C side is going in the negative direction, but it has a similar expression. So that all comes out to be 0, and we're done. That's the university. And that's all
interesting inputs here. So, what do you think? Can we decide for a winner? So, fortunately, we have two prizes. I think we go for a draw. Thank you very much for your input here. Thank you everybody for coming today and taking part in this first annual, let's see, PhD Bazaar. So we are more or less done with the program. There's still beer outside and there's still food, I believe. So please stay around, hang out, and get home safely. So. Thank you.
I think we should just finish off by thanking Kim for the nice arrangement.
Thank you.